We are coming up on 7:59 on your Wednesday morning drive. We were reporting earlier that a section of I-84 in eastern Oregon was closed. It appears we're back open to one lane here westbound between Baker City and North Powder. A serious crash, though, has traffic still running a little slow there. Locally, the roads are wet and, the drive times are up. They're elevated for sure. 32 minutes your drive from Hillsboro, nearly 40 minutes now the drive in from Troutdale. And at last check, the trip across the Columbia is slow and steady on I-5, 35 minutes. Get you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Rod?
Well, overall, it's been a wet morning. We've had rain come and go. Right now, we're kind of in a dry spot in downtown Portland. You see, there's a batch of rain that's moved out. The next batch of rain is right here, bouncing over the Coast Range. And no lightning, but this is heavy rain where you see the yellow. So Carlton, McMinnville, Gaston, you're all now seeing your rain pick back up. So clouds over the city, currently dry 58, but this will be a numerous shower day, including heavy rain pockets at times. And temperatures in the mid-60s. I show 66 at 5 p.m.
How about Portland, Oregon, where it looks like a war zone?
Now on KGW Plus, President Trump doubling down on his promise to send National Guard troops here to Portland. Coming up, we take a look at what that mobilization will actually look like. And later.
There's a new clock ticking on Capitol Hill for just how long this government shutdown will last. I'm Alice Barr in Washington. Coming up, we'll have the latest state of play as Republicans and Democrats try to get past finger pointing to figure out how to get out of this mess.
Plus, federal firefighters in Oregon to tens of thousands at risk of losing health coverage in Washington. How our region is feeling the impact from the shutdown.
We want to make sure that our federal firefighters are not harmed in any way, shape, or form and can show up to the job fully.
Also coming up this hour, whatever happened to Amelia Earhart and her plane, which vanished in 1937? A new search underway to solve one of history's greatest mysteries. The 8 o'clock hour of Sunrise starts right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 8 o'clock. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Chris McGinnis, Rod Hill, come on in and tell us a little bit about weather and traffic.
Hi, everybody. First day of October. It's a wet start for us. Not a bad morning, but we've had already a mix of raining pretty good and then dry. And then we've got another batch of raining pretty good moving right back in. So you can see shower bands offshore and shower bands inland. So far, not much rain this morning. In fact, mainly dry east of the Cascades, but you folks are expecting some scattered showers, maybe some storms later today. To the valley we go, currently dry in Portland and Salem, but you saw the heavy rain pocket now hitting McMinnville. So Portland, there are the clouds, 58 degrees. Everything is wet from rain that's passed through the city earlier this morning. And basically the shower machine just keeps going throughout the day. 64 at noon, 66 at 5 p.m. Here's Chris.
Shower machine. All right, we've got some red on the traffic map this morning. We'll take you out there. This is actually, where is this? This is I-205, actually near the I-5 interchange in Tualatin. So that's the ramp from 205 south to I-5 north. Looks like we've got a disabled vehicle over there on the shoulder. It doesn't really look like it's impacting the drive that much, but certainly things are thick on the west side. That's Highway 26 out near Murray Boulevard. Slow and go actually both directions there. Your trip inbound from Hillsboro has jumped up to 30 minutes. On the other side of town, the drive from Troutdale, nearly 40 minutes on I-84 westbound. And not to be outdone, Clark County, the end of the line starts around Main Street, and it's slow and steady all the way down to the Fremont Bridge. Drew, China?
All right, thank you, Chris. Top story at 8 o'clock. Hundreds of National Guard members are set for deployment here in Portland later this week after President Trump once again yesterday said that the city looks like a war zone.
Oregon state leaders are pushing back and have sued to block the deployment, but we want to take a closer look at what that would look like. So Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz is outside the city's ICE facility near the south waterfront. Thomas, what could we expect?
Hey, good morning, guys. And yeah, we probably won't see any deployment here on the streets of Portland until the end of the week at the earliest. Right now, National Guard officials tell us that they've been in communication and been told to ready 200 troops for the assignment.
We understand that we'll be doing some federal facility protection, some federal employee protection activities, but that's about all we know at this time.
Lieutenant Colonel Charles Patzner tells us it's still unclear how long training will take. Right now, they just know they will guard federal facilities and federal employees. On Tuesday, President Trump doubled down on why he thinks a military response is necessary in the Rose City.
How about Portland, Oregon, where it looks like a war zone? And I get a call from the liberal governor, "Sir, please don't come in. We don't need you." I said, well, unless they're playing false tapes, this looked like World War II. Your place is burning down.
In Salem, legislators are asking questions about this deployment as well. We learned it'll cost $3.8 million to pay for the 200 service members over 80 days. In a subcommittee, lawmakers reiterate that whatever their opinion is on the deployment, they realize the Guard is made up of Oregonians.
I hope you've heard from this side of the dais our support for the Oregonians who are following orders. These are our brothers and sisters, our family members, our coworkers, people who work with us in this building. And we recognize the situation that the president is putting them in.
And back out here live along the south waterfront outside of the ICE facility, there's about a dozen people that are just setting up protest right now, but it's been very peaceful all morning long, been very quiet as well. Uneventful has really been what we've been saying all morning long, and that's still the case out here, guys. Drew, China, back to you.
Thomas, thank you. The federal government is now shut down after Congress and the White House couldn't reach an agreement on how to extend federal funding.
It's the first government shutdown since 2018 during the middle of President Trump's first term. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest for us from Washington, D.C.
This morning, as the consequences of a government shutdown start rippling across the country, on Capitol Hill, frustrated lawmakers starting a new clock to reopen.
It's time to end this and release the hostage. Let's get back to work.
Republicans and Democrats trading blame after two last-ditch funding votes failed in the Senate Tuesday night. Without the necessary 7 Democrats crossing over to back it, they're holding out to restore health care cuts and extend Obamacare subsidies.
Fix health care premiums and spare Americans the calamity of skyrocketing through the roof health care costs.
Republicans argue those discussions can wait, voicing pessimism about the current standstill.
There literally is nothing to negotiate. They're bringing in extraneous issues that don't have anything to do at all with keeping the government open.
Despite the shutdown, Social Security, Medicare, and VA benefits will continue along with student loans. But national parks could close, and roughly 750,000 federal workers could be furloughed. Many more, including TSA agents, required to work without pay until the shutdown ends.
We're looking for bombs, weapons, stuff like that, and you can't miss, right? So you don't want officers with added stress of how am I going to pay my bills?
President Trump raising the stakes, reiterating his threat of mass layoffs while blaming Democrats.
Cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
Democrats adamant those cuts are already happening, pushing for leverage now.
They've got to sit down and negotiate with Democrats
as the nation waits for what's next. While we wait to hear about negotiations, several leading Republicans have said they don't see a clear way out of this shutdown right now, while the Senate's top Democrat argued the American people are learning how bad the nation's health care crisis is, and he says they'll put heat on Republicans to solve it. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Many people will be harmed because of this shutdown.
That was Oregon Representative Janelle Bynum in response to the government shutdown. Coming up at 8:30, we'll have more reaction from local lawmakers, plus how the government shutdown will impact us here in the Northwest. New this morning, the Federal Administration for Children and Families is investigating Oregon's policy on LGBTQ+ foster youth. The rule requires prospective parents to agree to support LGBTQ children. The investigation appears to stem from the case of Jessica Bates, an Eastern Oregon mother who sued the state 2 years ago, who says that the policy violates her rights to free speech and religion. That case is still moving through the federal court.
Cuts and changes to SNAP benefits in the U.S. by way of President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill are starting to get phased in. Oregon's Human Services Department says the changes will mainly impact 3 groups of people: those who get utility assistance, those with no children who are able to work, and refugees or other lawfully present immigrants in the state. Anyone applying for SNAP at this point will have to meet the new requirements. Other people will be notified of eligibility changes within the next few weeks. We do have a lot more about this in the online version of the story at KGW.com.
Your time now is 8:08. We are taking a live look out from our sky cam at the Vancouver waterfront. It is looking cloudy and rainy over there. Let's bring in Rod Hill to walk us through what we can expect today for our forecast.
The interstate bridge is waterproof. Relax. I saw the raindrop touching, looked like it was touching the bridge there. Here are the rain totals going back the last 48 hours. So these numbers reset every hour going back the last 2 days. Shows Tillamook 94/100ths of an inch. Pretty good rain up there along the north coast. And then Portland 19/100ths. About a 1/10 of an inch of that has actually come this morning. It's been wetter. This was mostly yesterday's rain total up in the Kelso-Longview area. 73/100ths of an inch rain. So we've definitely had some wet spots. I mentioned we picked up about a 1/10 of an inch of rain so far this morning out of PDX in Portland. Up here is the first rain band that came through during our show couple hours ago. Now it's dry in Portland, but there's a second rain band that's moving in. This one, no lightning with it, but some pretty hefty rain totals. McMinnville, Carlton, there's Hillsboro. You're going to start getting some of this rain as well. And basically, this is just a day where the showers just keep coming and coming. There's a lightning threat along the coast and later today in eastern Oregon. I think primarily in the valley, we're just going to see showers heavy at times. So far, it's been mainly dry out in the Dalles. Here's the Oregon Veterans Home camera out that direction. Mostly cloudy to partly cloudy, 54 degrees. Not expecting much wind today. And you folks later this morning into this afternoon are expecting at least a few rain showers in your area. Here's a little brightness looking off to the east, otherwise cloudy. This is Persimmon Golf Club up in Gresham. And, you know, a lot of our cameras now starting to show some of the pretty fall colors on this first day of October. Temps are in the 50s, 57. Portland, as I mentioned, 59 degrees in Salem. And then statewide with scattered showers in the forecast. Temperatures primarily in the 60s. This shows 63 later today over in Bend. 7-day forecast. A lot of shower activity today, fewer showers tomorrow, then all dry starting Friday. So your weekend still looks really nice. Partly cloudy, 68 Saturday, sunny, and 73 on Sunday. Here's Chris.
Something to look forward to after a couple of days of rain. All right, let's take it to Clark County. I-5 southbound still slow and go from right there at SR 500. Our speed sensor showing about 15 miles an hour or so to get you down to the interstate bridge. In fact, 32 minutes total from Main Street to I-405. This is what it looks like as drivers head south. This is right at the Fremont Bridge. And then if you're heading west from there, right over to 405 South and through the Vista Ridge Tunnel, it's a slog out there this morning for sure. Also in the lower right-hand part of your screen, that's Interstate 84. The westbound commute pretty thick through the Gateway District. At last check, we're still looking at 33 minutes to get you in from Troutdale. In the Gorge, the much talked about East Viaduct closure of Highway 30, the historic Columbia River Highway, I should say, just east of Multnomah Falls. That closure, which was scheduled to start today, has been postponed until next week. Drew, China?
Thank you, Chris.
Amelia Earhart on a globe-girdling flight with navigator Fred Noonan.
Almost 90 years after her plane disappeared, we still don't know what really happened to Amelia Earhart. Coming up here on Sunrise, the new mission to solve one of history's most famous unsolved mysteries. And later.
Then when you walk into the rotunda, you're going to walk in and you go, wow, this looks really neat.
The state capitol building in Salem is getting a new look, so we're going to show you what's changed and what's left to finish in the $500 million improvement project that's already 8 years in the making.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On weather impact alert days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
What happened to Amelia Earhart and navigator Fred Noonan after they went missing trying to fly around the world in 1937?
It's an 88-year-old question at this point, one that archaeologist Richie Pettigrew is trying to answer after past searches turned up nothing. NBC's Tom Costello has the latest.
At the Seattle Museum of Flight, a tribute to Amelia Earhart and an exact replica of her Lockheed Electra plane. The very tight cockpit and rudimentary controls that she used while trying to fly around the world in 1937.
I'm impressed by how constricted the space is, right?
Archaeologist Richard Pettigrew is on a mission to find Earhart's real plane.
Amelia Earhart on a globe-girdling flight with navigator Fred Noonan.
The mystery has lasted for 88 years. What happened to Earhart and Noonan? An international search turned up nothing.
This is the first image.
But now a new team is preparing to head to this remote island in early November, zeroing in on a lagoon. Is that a piece of Earhart's plane peeking above the sand? The satellite photo was snapped in 2015, a year after a massive tropical storm shifted the sand, potentially revealing the plane.
So it could easily be buried by sediment in the water.
Pettigrew will lead the 15-person team to Nicomararo in Kiribati, a country of remote Pacific islands. 2 boats will take 6 days to get there. The team will cut its way through the jungle to reach the lagoon, then use high-tech tools to search for Earhart's plane under the sand. But Rick Gillespie, who has spent decades writing about and searching for Earhart, says that photo shows a fallen coconut tree, not Earhart's plane, though Earhart did likely crash there.
We've looked there in that spot, and there's nothing there.
Human remains discovered in 1940, then lost, are now thought to have been Earhart's. Previous searches turned up medicine bottles and clothing from the 1930s. Commercial astronaut Sirisha Bandla, a Purdue alum, is joining the search, hoping to bring her role model's plane back home to her alma mater.
Not only did she do those audacious things for women, she helped keep the door open so other women can walk in her footsteps.
I think the one thing we all took away from that was that remains were
lost. Like, who lost
them? They found them and then they lost them.
Right. Yeah. Also a name that I recall since I was in preschool, right? Amelia Earhart. That's just been ingrained in our brains from forever.
Legend.
Great pioneering aviator. Yeah. Okay. We'll see how that turns out. Do you remember this? It was a big headline November of last year. The bomb cyclone.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we tracked it locally, but Matt and I both consistently said it's going to stay out to sea enough that we won't get much of an impact. But Seattle got just absolutely hammered. So, yeah, I'm sure you remember this. The bomb cyclone, look at all the wind damage. SeaTac Airport had a gust of 59, but there were 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts in some of the more hilly terrain around the Seattle area. And we had 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts along our shoreline, too. And why am I bringing this up? Because on this first day of October, I want to talk a little bit about what I'm seeing as our rainy season really gets going, October, November, and December. Now, from the National Weather Service and NOAA, projecting for the 3 months overall above normal rainfall for our area and not having strong signals one way or the other, equal chances, if you will, when it comes to temperatures. Now, I will tell you, I'm in the middle of doing my winter outlook work, which we'll have probably the last week of October, but I have gotten a lot of my work done through December. And let me tell you, everything that I look at, meteorologically speaking, this October, November, December almost identically matches the indice numbers from a year ago. So I would assume we're going to have similar temperatures, similar rainfall patterns that we had a year ago. We'll see how it works out. Right now, from our friends at NOAA, we are still in a neutral zone, but we are trending heavily toward getting into at least a weak La Nina in the coming month or two. All right, so normal rainfall for PDX October, December, what we typically get over 14.5 inches. Last year, we did 16.26, so it was above normal, and we could be similar number this time around. It wasn't that wet of an October last year, but we had a really good wet November and a really good wet December. We had the bomb cyclone we just talked about, of course. Temperatures averaged 1 to 3 degrees above normal, so it wasn't a cold fall, and because of that, there was no valley snow all the way through the month of December. Now, one of the headlines, I haven't looked at this yet, but one of the headlines last year was we would have a really early, healthy start to the snowpack season and the ski season up in the Cascades, and boy, did we nail that. Remember, it was really good snow going into Thanksgiving weekend. So more to do on that before we see if that's going to happen or not again this year. All right, low pressure system offshore. It's driving all these showers. It's been on again, off again rain this morning. There's the next batch of heavy rain now coming out of the Coast Range, getting ready to come into Portland. Our temperatures outside are currently in the 50s. We'll only warm up about 10 degrees or so today. 66 the high with showers coming and going. Fewer showers tomorrow, and then starting Friday, we are still sticking with dry weather. At this point, dry this weekend and dry all the way into Tuesday. Here is Chris McGinnis.
Rod, thank you for that. Let's take it to West Lynn, specifically I-205 southbound coming off the Abernathy Bridge there. You can see the traffic pretty slow back over to 9090. And in fact, if you're hopping on the road right now from Clackamas, your southbound drive from Clackamas to West Lynn is moving along at about 12 miles an hour for that whole stretch. So that's pretty heavy, of course. I-5 through Tualatin, there you go, northbound, heading up towards the 205 interchange. That's pretty slow as well. At last check, that trip in from Wilsonville now is knocking on the door of about 40 minutes. So that's a pretty tight drive. And the drive in from Troutdale at last check, just shy of 40 as well. I-5 from Clark County, the end of the line, slowly moving down towards the Interstate Bridge. We roll on after this break.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
After 3 years of construction and restoration, the rotunda at Oregon's state capitol is back open.
KGW's Devin Haskins takes us to Salem for a closer look.
Since 2016, the state capitol building in Salem has been under construction. It's part of the CAMS project, which stands for Capitol Accessibility, Maintenance, and Safety. It's a $505.7 million seismic and accessibility upgrade. Jody Jones is the project director.
We're not just bringing the building up to today's standards, but we have to respect and honor the fact that this was created in 1938, and we don't want to take away from that.
The project was split into 3 phases, each phase focusing on different parts of the Capitol building, making it more seismically safe and ADA accessible, as well as updating outdated electrical and mechanical units.
Phase 2 is wrapped up, as well as Phase 1.
Work is now in Phase 3, focusing on the original building and the rotunda, which just reopened.
But then when you walk into the rotunda, You're going to walk in and you go, wow, this looks really neat, but you're not going to, unless you know and remember what it looked like before.
That's because a majority of the work in the rotunda, that's the main entrance to the Capitol, was more cosmetic. If you look up, the painting at the top was restored.
So we were able to take the paint down to the original colors, to peel off all of those layers, and that's what we have restored it to, is the original colors that were painted in 1938.
New lights were also added to accentuate the various murals up high and new skylights to bring in more natural lights.
I hope people are excited that they can come back into their Capitol. I mean, this is the people's building.
Another change is how the public enters through the Capitol. Before, you would go through those front doors. Now, because of security measures, they've created new vestibules off to the side of those front doors that people will have to go through before getting into that rotunda. The director says this all should be wrapped up by spring of next year. In Salem, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.
All right, from Salem, we bring you world and national headlines with your morning rush. At least 6 people were injured after a Russian air attack in Ukraine overnight. 5 of those injured had to be hospitalized. The attack also sparked several fires. There was no immediate comment from Moscow about the attack.
Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
That is U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who says he's implementing changes within the military. He spoke yesterday in front of hundreds of U.S. military leaders who are stationed all around the world. He gave 10 new military directives, including new physical fitness standards, while also criticizing DEI initiatives within the armed forces. And last headline here, actress Julie Andrews turns 90 years old today. The Oscar, Emmy, and Grammy winner rose to fame on Broadway before making her big screen debut in Mary Poppins. There she is, as Miss Mary. So we say happy birthday to Julie Andrews today, and that is your Morning Rush.
If you send military troops against the people of the United States, you are abusing your power.
Cities across the country are pushing back against the Trump administration's effort to use American cities as training grounds for the military, why they call the deployment a nightmare. Then at 8:45.
Go. We've got some major breakage. There it goes.
Yeah, 5 homes crumble into the ocean. Why it's becoming a growing problem for beachfront communities in North Carolina.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Good morning. I'm China Green. 200 members of the Oregon National Guard are expected to be deployed to Portland later this week after President Trump doubled down on his stance yesterday, saying the city looks like a war zone. State and local leaders have sued to block the deployment, saying troops are unnecessary. And meanwhile, in Salem, legislators are asking questions about the deployment after learning it will cost $3.8 million to pay for the 200 service members over 80 days. Headed over to Rod Hill now for a look at weather.
Wet morning out there. I mean, it hasn't been steady rain, and I'm just telling you what you already know. We've had some shots of pretty good rain come through. We've had some dry time. The next shot of rain is right here, and it's getting close to moving into Salem. Here's downtown Portland, Hillsboro. You're now getting wet, so the rain is starting to increase across the region again at this hour. 58 degrees, currently dry in downtown, but that'll change. 64 degrees at noon and 66 at 5 p.m. Showers in the forecast once again tomorrow, but fewer than today, and we still expect dry weather starting Friday with a nice October weekend.
All right, we've been waiting for this for a week now.
Yeah.
Oh,
he had my vote.
The crown was awesome.
Yeah.
A 1,200-pound bear
1,200 pounds.
is the winner of this year's Fat Bear Week contest in Alaska.
Yeah.
The bear's name is Chunk.
Obviously.
Has there ever been a better name for a fat bear than Chunk?
Never.
Down in that booty.
Oh,
There he is. Nice crown, Chunk. He's a big brown bear
Yeah.
with a broken jaw.
Well, what was
Yeah, a little detail I didn't know about.
really?
Yeah, he's got a broken jaw. He captured his first win in Fat Bear Week after narrowly finishing in second place the previous 3 years. How about that?
Oh, poor guy.
Technically known as Bear 32, he beat out Bear 856, who doesn't have a nickname.
Well, we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
You got to have a nickname to win the contest.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not Chunk, you're not cool. Fat Bear Week is an annual bracket-style competition celebrating bears who are getting fat for winter hibernation. And yes, I see you're covering your mouth, China, because you just noticed the broken jaw, right?
You can see it. The
Yeah.
poor baby. It was like,
So you think he got some sympathy votes? Is that what put Chunk over the top?
Maybe he was a chunky boy. He was a chunky
Surviving despite the...
boy. Yeah. Bless his heart.
Let's not let this be a sad moment.
Okay.
Chunk.
I heard he was quoted after the competition. Rod, you know what he said?
What did he say?
Hey, yo, Adrian!
Oh my God.
I did it!
Why does it always go back to the Rocky or Rookie or what is it?
Rocky.
Rocky.
What? Oh my God, you should be banned.
Ryan Matthews, take the
bannable
weather
offense.
maps. Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. Well, wet start, right? Today's just an occasional rain ban or numerous shower day, however you want to phrase it. Basically, it's raining pretty good, then it's dry, then some rain, then it's dry, and then maybe you get caught in a downpour. Right now, the next ban of rain is this one. So we had some rain earlier this morning, then it's been pretty dry. But this is another period of at least a good 30 plus minutes of steady rain starting to move in to the West Hills. So this is still dry looking out over the Moda Center, but the rain is knocking on the door again. 58 degrees coming into the Rose City. These numerous showers or occasional rain bands will continue this afternoon and actually into this evening. 64 at noon, 66 at 5 p.m. At times you may notice the winds from the southwest bouncing a little bit. My wind forecast is 5 to 25. And everybody has a shower chance in their forecast. It's been dry this morning east of the Cascades, but scattered thunderstorms are a possibility for you folks later today. We've had some lightning already detected offshore from Oregon and just inland up in Washington north of Long Beach. You folks at the beach, an ongoing chance of maybe hearing some rumbles of thunder as well. So heavy showers today, fewer scattered showers tomorrow, and then a dry Friday. And if you have weekend plans, it still looks great. Partly cloudy Saturday, 68, sunny and 73 on Sunday. By the way, if you don't have weekend plans, looks great too. Here's Chris.
He's sitting inside looking at the sun saying, oh man, I got a wrench and a screwdriver on the map here. That icon means a disabled vehicle on the ramp from 205 southbound to I-5 north. That's again on the Westland Lake Oswego side of I-5. I-5 itself is still running really thick, getting in from Wilsonville. There's a live look near the Norwood Road overpass. So that's one of our slowest commutes remaining out there. At last check, 41 minutes to get you in from Wilsonville. Not to be outdone, the Sunset and Banfield are both in full swing, pretty slow. There's a live look at Interstate 84. The end of the line from Clark County has made its way down to the Interstate Bridge. So there's the good news. The bad news is it's about another 32 minutes to get you from the Interstate Bridge to the Fremont. China?
Thank you, Chris. The U.S. government officially shut down last night after lawmakers in D.C. failed to pass a stopgap funding measure before the deadline.
So for federal workers, the shutdown could mean layoffs, could mean furloughs, or it could mean having to work without pay until it's resolved. Here's KGW's Catherine Cook with more.
That's the estimate. 5 million Americans across the country, 80,000 in my state will just be like, nope, can't afford insurance anymore, not going to buy it.
U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington on one of the biggest issues behind the government's partial shutdown Tuesday. Congress failing to extend tax credits in the Affordable Care Act. Republicans arguing they want a clean, nonpartisan funding bill, and therein lies the impasse.
We didn't add partisan riders. We simply asked Democrats to extend existing funding levels to allow the Senate to continue the bipartisan appropriations work that we started.
So what happens now? The shutdown will affect millions of government workers. National park rangers furloughed. Veterans would still receive medical care at VA facilities, but regional offices would close and career counseling programs canceled.
Many people will be harmed because of this shutdown.
U.S. Representative Janelle Bynum says her office is standing by with caseworkers to help those facing short and long-term needs. On that list, essential workers who have to work but won't get paid till the shutdown ends. That includes active duty service members, TSA agents, and federal firefighters. On Tuesday, Bynum introduced the Federal Firefighter Paycheck Protection Act.
We want to make sure that our federal firefighters are not harmed in any way, shape, or form and can show up to the job fully. So we're standing up for them to make sure that they get their pay.
Some things won't change during the shutdown, like mail delivery and Social Security checks. Those will keep going out as lawmakers keep looking for a way to reopen the government.
Every single time they attack our communities, we only grow stronger.
That's one example of city leaders around the country who at this point are condemning the growing military presence in their communities. Of course, we expect 200 National Guard troops to be deployed here in Portland later this week. Leaders condemning the troop deployment say the move creates fear and intimidation.
Though the Trump administration says it's a public safety operation. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz brings us the latest from Portland's South Waterfront.
Well, right now, right outside the Portland Ice facility along the South Waterfront, it's been pretty quiet. It's been that way all morning long. There's a little less than 10 protesters that look like they're just kind of setting up for the day right now. This all comes as Oregon state leaders are suing the Trump administration to block troop deployments here in Portland. Meanwhile, city leaders from Washington, D.C. to L.A. are pushing back too, saying the only nightmare in their cities recently was the deployment of the National Guard and federal officers.
The federal surge forces have been at soccer games, football games, in front of schools. Children have seen people kidnapped from in front of schools.
If you send military troops against the people of the United States, you are abusing your power, you are disrespecting and misusing the military and our service members, and you are wasting our tax dollars.
Community leaders in Tennessee say they're also seeing troops in Memphis. The Trump administration says the deployments are safety operations and opportunities for military training. President Trump recently defended the actions of his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth.
It's a war from within. I told Pete we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military.
Now in Portland, we've seen peaceful protests for quite some time. Along the waterfront, there was hundreds of protesters joining Governor Tina Kotek over the weekend, along with Portland Mayor Keith Wilson. Here at the ICE facility along the South Waterfront, protests have been going on since June. Many of those protests where they were larger and actually had more arrests were in June. We've seen a handful of arrests over the past week, but once again, peaceful down here today. Along the South Waterfront, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Meantime, we've obtained a memo sent to Oregon Guard members from the general in charge of the Oregon National Guard, though he will not be in command during the deployment of the National Guard. So in a letter, Brigadier General Alan Gronwald talks about the task ahead, writing, quote, "I'll be honest with you, I know this isn't easy. Some people in Oregon won't understand or won't support his mission. Some people might even be hostile about it, but we've been through the situations before. We are professionals, though, and who do our duties regardless of how it's received." Now, he went on to write that members not involved in this mission will continue the work that they normally do in the state, like responding to wildfires or storms. He also tells service members it's okay for them to have strong feelings about the mission, but that they took an oath to follow the orders of the president and the governor, adding that they don't get to pick and choose. You can read the full letter on KGW.com.
New this morning, opening statements are expected today in the trial of a Portland cannabis shop employee who's accused of killing 2 suspected robbers. 24-year-old Jason Robert Steiner has already pleaded not guilty to multiple charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors say he shot through a window at the La Moda cannabis shop last October, killing 2 men and injuring another. Steiner claims that he acted that day in self-defense.
A total of 3 people have died in Boring, Oregon after 2 separate crashes in the same area just days apart. The latest happened yesterday morning at a pub along Highway 212. We do want to warn you that the video that you're about to see may be disturbing. The video shows a vehicle zipping through the intersection. Surveillance footage from the pub then shows the car slamming into the building, bringing down the roof. The driver died. A truck hit the same business back in 2023, and the owners say that they have been hit 4 times over the years. Meanwhile, last Sunday, a car ran into this brick building right beside the pub, killing the driver and passenger and injuring 2 people inside the business. ODOT says it's made some safety improvements to the road over the years, but that there might be more to do from a traffic engineering perspective.
Nike saw a small sales boost during the first fiscal quarter. Revenue came in at nearly $12 billion, beating expectations, but earnings fell 31%. So the news isn't all good here. Nike profits are down as the company works through old inventory. Nike is also in the middle of restructuring the company, laying off 2% of its global workforce.
Local coffee shops in Seattle are taking the recent Starbucks closures as an opportunity to grow their business. So last week, Starbucks announced its plans to close hundreds of stores across the country, including 5 in Portland alone and nearly a dozen in Seattle. Now, some independent shops in Seattle say that they are seeing more customers and hope to take advantage of Starbucks' shrinking footprint.
I hope that's what it does. Obviously, the traffic's out there. I mean, the rest of us we can't take advantage of the economy of scale. We don't have apps necessarily, but I mean, there's an awful lot. I mean, hopefully some of us are cheaper. I certainly am.
Even with the closure, Starbucks will still have more than 18,000 locations in North America alone.
All right, Clark County is reminding residents about the correct way to get rid of fallen leaves this fall. They want to remind people that blowing leaves into the street can clog storm drains and cause flooding. So they remind residents that they can use their yard debris bins or compost at home, or they can take advantage of the county's free fall leaf coupon program. All coupons allow up to 5 cubic yards of leaves to be dropped off at designated sites through the end of the year.
Coupon or coupon?
I guess I say coupon because it sounds funny to me.
Coupon?
Let me think. Let me put it in a natural sense.
I think my mom says coupon.
I'm going to clip the coupon. Q. I say, yeah, coupon.
Coupons. Yeah, same.
But coupon sounds funny.
Coupon sounds like an older generation thing. I don't know. I hear my grandparents saying that.
Clip
Who
coupon.
versus Q?
Q.
Yeah,
coupon.
We're going with Q.
We're going with Q.
Are you confused yet?
Yeah, a little.
Cool.
But I appreciate that I get them from Fred Meyer because it saves us like $15 a week. So anyway, coupon, whatever. I just like the money that we save. We have got some trouble on the west side right now. A disabled vehicle on the westbound Sunset near the Jefferson on-ramp. So police are with that. I'm not sure what this semi has to do with it, but in any event, the westbound Highway 26 drive is actually backing up pretty quickly here into the Vista Ridge Tunnel. So that's going to spill over to I-405 in just a few minutes. All right, quick check of your drive times. They are thick this morning. 40 minutes to get you in from Wilsonville, 30-plus minutes from Troutdale and Hillsborough as well. There's the live look, by the way, near Capitol Highway. So that northbound I-5 drive still needs a little help, as does the Banfield. We're puttering along out there, guys. But so far, despite the slow drive times, I don't have any major unexpected freeway delays, no big crashes or anything like that just yet.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Go. We've got some major breakage. There it goes.
That is an incredible scene from North Carolina. Waves from Hurricane Imelda battering parts of the East Coast. Homes literally crumbling into the ocean there. So coming up here on the Sunrise Show, we'll have the latest on the damage there in the Carolinas and why this is becoming a growing problem for some of those beachfront communities.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Hurricane Imelda is already leaving its mark on the East Coast. 5 beachfront homes in North Carolina fell into the ocean yesterday.
All 5 homes were unoccupied and no injuries were reported. NBC's Jesse Kirsch brings us the latest.
This dramatic video from North Carolina's Outer Banks. Beachfront homes reduced to rubble. Churning surf from Hurricanes Imelda and Umberto causing at least 5 houses to collapse on this barrier island. Fortunately, all of them were unoccupied at the time. Although the twin storms won't make U.S. landfall, they continue wreaking havoc in the Atlantic Ocean, producing dangerous waves and rip currents along the East Coast. Communities from Florida to the Carolinas had been preparing for the worst.
The storm way off the coast can still bring those rip currents and those strong tides and really affect our beach system and our dune system.
As the hurricanes track toward Bermuda, officials are warning that more beachfront structures are in danger of collapse. The 5 homes lost Tuesday are just the latest to disappear along the North Carolina shore. 17 homes have crumbled into the ocean since 2020. This morning, officials cleaning up debris and urging caution as even more dangerous swells are expected in the days ahead.
All right, from that weather story on the East Coast, we turn to Rod Hill with our local weather story. Rod, up on the roof.
Yeah, I'm holding the umbrella.
Vest you got there? What's going on?
I'm holding the umbrella.
You look like a salt girl.
I have the vest on because it's you mean the vest on or off, Drew? What do you like?
Listen, I love the vest on. I think China's referring to when you have that yellow umbrella. She thinks you look like the Morton's song.
Oh, well, and then I'll open the umbrella.
And then do the little skip.
How do they do that? What do they? I don't know what
That's
they
it.
do. Is that
you
that
just,
it?
just like it. What is that? The salt?
This also reminds me of Mary Poppins. By the way, Julie Andrews' birthday is today. She turns 90.
Yeah. She is my mother turns 91 tomorrow, so they're a year and 1 day apart. Okay, all right. My mom loves the sound of music, by the way. I don't need the umbrella, that's silly. Okay, let's get you to the weather map, shall we? I'm up here on the weather deck brought to you by Rick's Custom Fencing and Decking. Big upper level low sitting off of Vancouver Island. They're going to keep spinning showers or rain bands our way today. So occasionally raining and then dry and then occasionally raining again. We think overall it's a pretty wet day all the way into this evening. Let's go to the next map. It's been a dry morning so far when you get east of the Cascades. But you folks in Baker City have a chance of seeing some scattered storms later today. Let's go ahead and give you a closer look at where this rain is on Doppler radar. We've had lightning strikes so far offshore, nothing inland in our region. And radar is showing some rain just about ready to hit downtown Portland. So that rain is just on the other side of the West Hills right now from downtown. Let's go ahead and move on. But where you saw the yellow and darker green, there's Carlton, Newburgh, got some pretty hefty rain. Okay, so you get the idea. Have your raincoat with you as we take a look at Futurecast. This is this morning, late morning, showing that rain band. There it is getting into the afternoon. And just keep going, Brian, where you see the dark colors there, or bright colors, ongoing chance of some heavier rain bands. And this will just play into tomorrow. The one thing as we just keep going through the clock is that tomorrow we'll see fewer showers than today, but this is tomorrow afternoon. And just north of Salem, it showed chance of a heavy shower tomorrow, although fewer showers all total expected. It's wet at the Oregon Zoo with more rain moving into the West Hills at this hour. 55 is the temperature, and we're all in the 50s except for Burns in the 40s, and Bend was in the 40s, but now warming up to 54 degrees. So the forecast. I mentioned those thunderstorms offshore so far this morning. There is the chance of hearing some thunder at the beach today. Otherwise, numerous showers, upper 50s to 60s. Here's the valley forecast. Breezy winds at times. Right now, it's pretty calm up here in downtown Portland on the weather deck, but we could see some southwesterlies 5 to 25. Again, numerous showers, heavy rain at times, temperatures in the 60s. 7 days still features one more shower chance tomorrow, and then we're all dry starting Friday and a nice weekend. 68 Saturday, 73 degrees on Sunday. I do like the yellow though. I think it's quite lovely. Again, more rain coming throughout the day. Let's get you to our birthday list. All right, who's having a birthday party on this first day of October? Here we go. Maxine is 8. Happy birthday to you. And then also celebrating today is Hunter in St. Helens, 23. Getting a big snuggle with his dog there. Brush Prairie. Jack is celebrating the big 3-0. That's a big one. Hope you have a wonderful day today. And celebrating 65 in Tiger PDX. And Brian Matthews noticed this, our director, earlier. That photo's from New York. He's there outside the Today Show. That's pretty cool. Hope you had a good time doing that, Greg. Happy birthday to you. Birthdays at KGW.com. We'll celebrate with you. Let's go indoors to Chris McGinnis.
Well, let's go back outdoors to Helvetia Road. So the traffic's not all that bad, but I wanted to back my friend Rod Hill up here to show you where the rain has returned to the metro area. It's raining pretty hard out in Hillsborough on Highway 26. Your eastbound drive still needs some work, right? The I-5 South Drive out of Clark County, the end of the line now has made its way down to the Interstate Bridge. So that's the good news. The bad news is from there it only gets slower from the Interstate Bridge down to the Fremont. So that's one of our remaining thick spots on the freeway system. There's a quick look at the drive through Oregon City, 99E and 205. All right, without further ado, your drive times. Northbound from Wilsonville, still 35 minutes. Inbound from Hillsborough, still 30 minutes. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
In a wrap of our top stories this morning, 200 members of Oregon National Guard are expected to be deployed to Portland later this week after President Trump doubled down on his stance yesterday, saying the city looked like a war zone. State and local leaders have sued to block that deployment, saying troops are unnecessary. Meanwhile, in Salem, legislators are asking questions about this deployment after learning it will cost $3.8 million to pay for the 200 service members over 80 days. The federal government is now shut down after the Congress and the White House could not reach an agreement on how to extend federal funding. It is the first government shutdown since 2018, during the middle of President Trump's first term. Some things won't change during the shutdown, like mail delivery and Social Security checks. Those will keep going. And cuts and changes to SNAP benefits in the U.S. by the way of President Trump's big, beautiful bill are starting to get phased in. So anyone applying for SNAP at this point will have to meet the new requirements. Other people will be notified of eligibility changes within the next few weeks. We have more information on this at KGW.com.
Well, I was just outdoors looking at the West Hills. Any moment now, rain's going to be hitting those hills and rolling into downtown Portland, at least in the next half hour. And then we've got more showers tomorrow, but the forecast is still all dry starting Friday, and that will pave the way for a very nice October weekend.
Friendly reminder, if you need your wipers, you need your headlights.
Yeah.
Oregon law. All right, the drive hasn't been terrible this morning, but it's still pretty slow in a couple places. Wilsonville to downtown, about 36 minutes. Hillsborough getting into downtown on Highway 26, that's a 27-minute ride. The end of the line out of Clark County has made its way to the Interstate Bridge. From there, good luck getting down to the Fremont. Another 30 or so from there.
All right, Chris, we have one more story here on the Sunrise Show this morning. At the end of the story, gang,
That's
I'm gonna
awesome.
this is amazing video from Hawaii.
Wow.
Kilauea erupting again. I've got a question for the four of you
Yes.
as we wrap this one up, but let me get to the details first. We know Kilauea is one of the most active volcanoes on Earth, right?
Yep.
Previous eruptions sent lava fountains like 1,000 feet into the air.
Yeah.
This latest eruption doesn't look as powerful. In fact, the USGS says fountains are only about 300 feet high at this time. So I'm asking you guys, since December of last year, we're talking about 9 months at this point.
Okay, yeah.
How many times has this volcano erupted? What would you guess?
In terms of days or total number?
Total number of times.
Events.
31.
Well, there's been several active. I'm going to go over.
Running out of time here.
I'm going to go 200.
Okay.
I'm going to go high.
35.
Put your hands in the air. Whoa, wait a minute. You're closer, but I always say when you go over, what happens, Rod?
You lose.
You lose.
What is it?
34.
Woo!
34 times since December. Very good guess, though. My goodness.
Winner.
And that's it.
Winner.
That's the show. Good night.
Or good morning.
Why do we have to have a hard out for